All right, so we're going to take a step back here and we're going to redo the export process. So what you want to do is click here and make sure you have email selected and the other column that you want to export here. Now, because I'm going to be doing a cold email outreach campaign, I only need the emails, but I made a mistake in the last video. I forgot to check one email per store. Now, what this does is it automatically exports the most valid email because a store can have multiple emails at any given time. And if you don't check this, it'll export all of them. Now, that's fine if you want to do the cleanup yourself. For example, you can run a script in Excel to search for certain keywords. For example, if you're looking for sales emails, you would have it pull out sales first. Then maybe if it couldn't find that, it goes to another keyword that you put in there. And then maybe the last resort, it would pull in maybe just the first email that it finds. But this makes it easier if you don't want to have to go through all the trouble. So anyway, let's continue here. We'll export these leads, and then I'll show you the next steps. Okay. All right, the leads are ready. We'll open these up. Let me show you here. Let's actually move this over here. So you have all of the columns that we had selected in the export screen. And here's our emails. As you can see, there's only been one exported per website, which is perfect for our email campaign we're about to start here. Now you will find there are a few discrepancies. For example, this email obviously is not the correct email. We're improving the technology every day in terms of how we detect and validate emails, but sometimes they slip through. All right, let's continue. I'm going to show you how you clean this list up. Something you don't want is a high bounce rate. A bounce rate is when you start an email campaign and you try to send emails to invalid email addresses. Even though they're in here, it doesn't always mean they're valid, right? So if you want to make sure your campaigns are in good standing, you want to make sure that you do some verification before you start your campaign. So let me show you how you go about doing that. So there's a website or a company called emailable.com, and they allow you, their pricing is pretty affordable. They allow you to upload the list that you exported from Store Census, and they'll validate your emails for you. So let's go ahead and do that, see how that looks. I'm going to just drag the file into here, and I'm going to click verify. And the process is pretty quick. I think they have an internal database that it checks against. And as you can see here, we already have some stats. Now, even though it says risky, I don't truly believe that to be the case. I think that so Shopify stores, there's a lot of support, info, hello emails. Now, most people will look at those and go, oh, those are pointless. That's not the decision maker. Why are we going to send emails to them? But the reality is that these are Shopify stores. They're a business, and they will, there's actually a higher probability that they will look at your email or any email that comes into that inbox. So there's a very high chance their eyeballs will be on your email that you send them. So in my opinion, and from my experience, sending to these emails is actually a positive thing. So let's see what this says here. So it removed 215 emails, and this is exactly the emails we want to avoid sending to. This would decrease or increase your bounce rate. Now let's see here. Let's go to exports, and we'll do new export. Let's customize this. I do want to include risky, and I want to include deliverable. And let's see here. We definitely want to include roles. And accept all. No, all right. So we want to have free and role selected. Accept all. That's probably like an admin email, more so for the technical side when they set up their website. Probably not a good idea. Disposable, obviously we don't want to be dealing with that because they're probably not using that email if there's any in there. Anyway, let's see what we get out of this. How many emails did we get? Let's see. We have 371 clean emails. Let's take a look at a few of these. There are some Gmails in here, which is fine. Bonjour. So these are all emails that are available on the Shopify store themselves. As I said earlier, they will actually look at the emails coming into these because they're a business, right? They need to keep an eye on their customers, and if a customer has an inquiry, this is how they would send or contact the store. Anyway, so now that we have this list, what we're going to do is use a website called Email Chaser. Now, this is a service that sends out emails. It connects to a Gmail account, and it will connect via the API, Google API, and slowly send out emails from your own account. There's other services out there like instantly.com, even Apollo io supports emailing. Personally, I like this one. It's affordable. They have a free trial. It's just really easy to use. It's simplistic in the UI. If we look at the pricing, it's not that bad, $37 a month, and you can hook up 3 accounts. That'll send out probably about 120 emails a day, and they handle all sorts of problems that might arise. You can also see responses that come in, so it's pretty good service. Anyway, let's get started here. So let me explain the process. So as I said, this service will hook up to Google Workspace. So essentially what you want to do is you want to go to workspace.google.com account. Now each one, their cheapest package is going to be $7 a month. So it'll basically cost you $7 a month for each email account that will be sending out emails, right? So each one will send about 40 emails, 30 to 40 emails a day. Now what you'll do is you'll go over to a service like Squarespace. That's personally what I use. They're very simple. They connect to Google Workspace. Just makes everything easier. And you'll purchase a domain that is similar to your main domain. For example, if your Shopify application is called trackingapp.com, you would purchase a domain that's similar to that, trackingappnow or trackingappemail.com. And what you would do is you would have trackingappnow.com redirect, and you would set that up in Squarespace after you purchase the domain. Do that is because when you send out emails, you don't want to burn your main domain, right? If for any reason you send out bad keyword or you send out too many emails, Google will ban the domain, and you obviously don't want to damage your main website. So what you do is you have these burner domains. Typically, if you're sending slow, 30 to 40 email chasers good with this, they'll randomize and slowly send out. You should be okay, but it's just a precaution. And by redirecting your burner domain to your main domain, what happens is when somebody opens up your email, typically what they'll do is they'll look at your domain name and your signature in your email and say, hey, if they're interested and if they think your offer has value, they'll look at it and go, hey, I want to check this out. So the first thing they'll do is probably copy that domain and stick it into Google or right into their browser and navigate to your website. And it'll hit your main domain and everything's great. So anyway, that is the gist of it. So once you have those set up, and Email Chaser has a whole university. Once you're signed in, you can go to app.emailchaser.com/university, and they have a whole video series. If you just follow this through, they're pretty short. They will help you go from purchasing, setting up Google Workspace, purchasing domains, setting up the DNS for each domain that you purchased, and then connecting them to your Email Chaser account. So they make it very easy. It's about an hour or two of work, but once it's done, you're in good shape and you don't have to do it again. And if you did, second time around, probably be a lot easier. And once you're set up and you have an email account connected to your Email Chaser account, what you'll do is you'll go to campaigns. And this is where you would create a new campaign. You'll name it, let's say, order tracking app. If I could type here, that would be great. And you can see I've been using this Email Chaser account to actually promote Store Census. So I did something very similar. I purchased a domain called storecensusmail.com, and that redirects to storecensus.com. So I'll select the email account that I connected. You can control who you email. They have quite a bit of settings to protect your Gmail account from getting burned. For example, it'll skip leads that have invalid or catch-all email addresses, get personal email addresses. I don't want to do that. I think those are valuable, especially for Shopify stores. They are publicly available on their store. They probably want to be contacted that way, so we'll let that be. So I turned it off. Skip leads that have already responded. That's a good idea. Skip duplicate leads. That's also a good idea. You don't want to send out multiple leads. There should not be any duplicates anyway, but you never know. It's a precaution. So this is where you would upload your file. So we'll select from a CSV file. I'm going to click next. I'm now going to drop in the leads. Actually, let's see here. Where did my leads go from? Let's just make sure we have the right. Let's make sure I download it. Yes, it is this one. Okay. So these are the leads. Let's go back into here. So these are the leads that I downloaded from Emailable, the cleaned up list. So let's drag that right into here. Oh, wait, we gotta click next. So let's do that. These are the deliverables. Let's close this. Okay. So now what you'll do is these are the columns in Excel in your CSV file. You're going to map it to Email Chaser. For example, the website column would be the company website. And by doing this, when you create your email copy, the message that will be sent, it'll allow you to insert variables directly into the text. It'll do it automatically for you. So it'll make your email message more dynamic. For example, it'll say, You could say, hello, I saw your company name, right? You can insert this variable, and then you can continue from there, and that'll make the email more unique, less likely to get blocked. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll make sure that I have the email column linked. So this is emails, email. We have the country. Some of them do it automatically if it's obvious. We have the current website. Makes sense. Anything else? I think that's good for now. You can preview. So you'll see here's the emails. So it all looks just like it's properly mapped here. Okay, so now what we'll do, I'm going to actually close this and just go over to skip for now because I'm not going to actually set it up fully. But now if we were to click next, you would upload that list, and now it's going to ask us, when do you want your newly created campaigns sending out emails? The rule of thumb is that you do not want to be sending out over on the weekend. The open rate is a lot less and it can hurt your deliverability. It looks weird to Google that you're sending out business emails over the weekend. One or two, okay, but sending 30, 40 emails out on a Saturday or Sunday does not look normal to Google. So if you want to stay normal, you would stay within the normal range, which is Monday through Friday. I will do my local time zone, which is Eastern Standard Time anyway. Now you can pick a schedule. I do full day typically. It'll start at 8 a.m., go to 6 p.m. You're welcome to customize. And you can see right here, it'll send out an email randomly from between 5 and 15 minutes, which is perfect. Send emails as plain text. I do not send HTML. I believe that will get you flagged. So I just send a very simple raw text message in my email. Automatically leads inbox to sender, email accounts, Gmail to chat. These I would leave checked. I think they all make sense. They're there to improve your deliverability. So keep them checked. Obviously, you don't want to send to emails that have bounced already. So that's an obvious one. Now, this is where you're going to create your email copy. You want a catchy title. You can keep it personable, as in, hey, or something like order tracking, right? If a customer, the way that I think about this is if I was a customer of their store, what would I say? What would be a typical message that would come in that would spark the interest of the owner of that store to actually want to open the email? Mentioning something vague like order tracking, I think the owner would open that. It could be something important. So that's probably a good message here. Now, what I'm going to show you is the actual email. So let me give you a little bit of context first. So I had an order tracking application that I developed, and this is how I got installs. This is the exact message that I sent out, and you can see here. Hi, I saw your Shopify store, Sarv uses track 123. This would be the competitor, 17 track, right? You can actually put the application name in there. This is the framing. This basically sparks their interest because yes, they do have this installed, right? So they know, hey, this person knows something about me. This is true. Let me continue reading. I'm interested. What do they have to say? So I saw your Shopify store use a 17 track where customers have to search for order numbers just to check on their orders. That's a pain point, right? So that's what I started off with. As a store owner, I know how frustrating this is for customers and support teams dealing with where's my order inquiries. I created an order tracking Shopify app for this exact reason. Now, I changed the name of this. This is not actually my application, but you get the idea. Your customers can track shipments, view orders, cancel purchases, and reorder all without order numbers, accounts, or logins. So this is the resolution, right? It solves that first pain point of having to search for order numbers just to look up where your order is. You would be able to click on this page and it keeps track of you. It knows who you are, so you can see your orders and you can manage them. It's seamless, Amazon-like experience that syncs automatically, cutting support inquiries by 90% and boosting repeat purchases by 30%. We actually had repeat rebuy buttons next to each order, so you could quickly go in and click on the button and it would purchase again or bring you to the purchase screen. So it was pretty awesome. Now here's our hook, right? No obligation. We're not pushing them. We're saying, hey, it's free to try. Why not give it a shot? We have a plan that's $0 and it gives you up to 60 orders a month. Now, if they fit into this range, great, right? Maybe they don't, but maybe they'll still be interested anyway. And then we ask them a question, interested in learning more? Now, when I was sending out this campaign, I had a low response rate. It was a few percent that actually responded to my email. But what I did have is that I noticed a massive increase in my app installations as this campaign was running. On a daily basis, we were getting multiple installs throughout the day. I was only using one email account to send out. So I think we're sending 30 to 40 emails a day, and we're getting 3 to 5 installs. And what these people were doing is they were actually copying the name of my application, navigating to the Shopify market store, or sorry, Shopify app market directory, searching for my application and then installing it. So the value proposition was very effective. It was so effective that it was actually driving them to manually search and install the application, response or not. So it's a very effective way to get installs for your application. Now, this was my experience. There are multiple variables here that are important, right? It comes down to, are you targeting correctly? For example, I was targeting Shopify stores that already had an order tracking application installed that, frankly, in my opinion, is a bit of an annoyance for customers, right? Because they have to go in and have their order number. Not everybody has that, so they got to go in their email and look up the order, and it's just a pain, right? So I thought, hey, that's a great target for me. And then, so I framed it as a pain point, a solution to that pain point, and then basically a hook, right? So there's 3 points to this. Now, Email Chaser has a good write-up on how to create an email, that is effective. Here we go. So how to write a cold email in 2025. I think they did a great job in explaining how to properly structure your email so it's effective. And one of the most important things is making sure you do not put any links in your email. They will get flagged. It'll burn your domain. Google will ban you very fast. Like I said, I didn't have to put a link in. It actually sparked their interest enough where they searched down my application name directly in the Shopify app directory. So don't worry about that. It's not necessary. Anyway, once you get into Email Chaser, you can go to the left side here and click Read Our Articles. And I highly recommend reading these. They're very effective in how they explain everything and how to write your emails, best practices. It's great. And it worked for me, and that's why I'm making this video. And it could work for you. Now, a few more points here. When you start your campaign, you will get notifications when somebody responds. Now, you want to respond immediately. So I recommend having Gmail on your phone, the Gmail application on your phone, set up to notify you when an email comes in for your new email accounts. The quicker you respond, the better chance you will have of somebody following through and installing your application. It's hot in the moment. This is very important. If somebody's interested, it doesn't mean they're going to be interested a few hours later. So strike when the iron's hot, as they say. Another point is you can, within your campaign, let me show you here. Let me see if I can set this up here. There's something called sequence. First off, if you go in your campaign, once it's set up, you can go into analytics. You can see all the leads that have replied. I have a 2% here. 2 to 5% is a typical reply rate. Like I said, I wouldn't really worry about that too much. When it comes down to promoting your Shopify application, the majority are not going to respond. They're going to go and search down your application and install it without even saying anything. This campaign was for store census, completely different ideal customer profile. So you will see. I also had a 3% bounce rate, which is actually really good. It's very low because I cleaned up my list. Anyway, sequence is the initial email you send, and then you can create follow-ups. For example, you can have it send a follow-up. If they don't respond, it'll send a follow-up. It doesn't just send it anyway. So if you get no response, you can say, hey, you know what, after 3 days, I want to say, hey, just checking in. Here's another value proposition or prop. You can say whatever you want, and there's a higher likelihood that they'll respond the second time around. You can even do a third one. You can do as many as you want. Maybe 10 days out, you say, hey, this is my last email. Is there anything that I missed? Here's a final value proposition that might intrigue them, right? It can't hurt to follow up a few times. This is highly effective. A lot of people say that majority of people do not respond on the first email that's sent. They typically respond on the second or third email. So definitely set this up. Anyway, if you have any questions, I think this wraps it up. I might go into more depth in another video, but right now I think this covers the majority. There is the technical side of setting this up, but like I said, you can go into the Email Chaser University and follow their videos, and you'll be more than fine. Now, I might go into more depth in terms of how to write better emails, and in another video, I might get into the SEO side of things. But until then, good luck, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comments section. You can email me at nick@storecensus.com if you have any direct questions that you'd like to get to me that is out of the public eye. Until then, have a nice day. Bye now.